All right, everyone, gather around. I have an important announcement to make. Our VR product has been so popular and successful that management has decided to work with us to create a 10-year roadmap for multiple generations. Wow, that's awesome. Team effort. Yeah, that's great. I didn't contribute enough though. Not at all. Your implementation of the simulation of physics matches real-life physics very well. But I only made a few modifications to the existing code. An essential component, not just a feature. Exactly. Don't be so hard on yourself. This is a big win for the team. It really was just 8 to 10 lines of code. Nothing compared to the hundreds of lines of code that each of my teammates did. I don't think I deserve that much credit. And I don't think I'm good enough at this job. Hello there. It's Alex with Sinspiration, where I inspire you to develop a growth mindset. Do you sympathize with our protagonist here? Maybe you've experienced it yourself, or you know someone who did. As a recap, our protagonist made a significant contribution to the team, but he doesn't feel like he did enough. Worse, he doesn't think he's qualified for his job. You might be thinking, shouldn't he be happy to get recognition and praise? Shouldn't anyone be? Not exactly. What we have here is imposter syndrome. Now, before I continue, I am no professional or expert in imposter syndrome. These are all my views and opinions based on what I have read and experienced myself. Imposter syndrome is a condition where a person is unable to celebrate his or her own successes and doubts one's own abilities. In other words, this person doesn't think he or she is good at something or did well, even when others think so, and is afraid that he or she will eventually get caught as a fraud or imposter. Most of the time, when people say you did a good job, you feel a sense of satisfaction and gratitude. In a way, it tells you that you did something right, something beneficial or impactful, and that motivates you to continue to work harder and achieve more. And that's how it should be. I mean, you deserve that praise and recognition, but some people don't feel that way. On the contrary, they don't view their accomplishment as an accomplishment at all, let alone significant. It's not being modest or humble because people with imposter syndrome cannot celebrate or view the results as success. In addition, imposter syndrome causes people to not believe in one's abilities and feel unqualified for his or her job. I'm not good enough, or I don't think I deserve this job, are common phrases that they think about. There is also this fear of being caught by team members or management for being unqualified for the job or not making enough progress. Or perhaps it is doing little work and getting compensated handsomely. This is where the term imposter comes from. What causes imposter syndrome? There are two primary methods that imposter syndrome surfaces: at school and at work. It also has to do with confidence and self-esteem. At school, a teacher teaches you the material, you do homework and projects, you take tests, and then you receive a final grade for the class. This final grade represents how well you mastered the material, sometimes relative to how well your other classmates did. This is where the problem arises. Your curiosity leads you to compare your grades to your classmates' grades, or the other way around. Even if you aren't competitive this way, you're still gonna compete with yourself perhaps. A B- is a low B, a B+ is short from an A-, an A- is not a true A, and some even think they need an A+, or maybe an A+ is not sufficient. It's this system of measuring performance that's a possible cause of imposter syndrome. Starting college has a high chance of leading to imposter syndrome, especially at highly ranked universities. You may have gotten straight A's in high school, but your classmates at these top-ranked universities were also top of class at their high schools. The difficulty of classes may be much harder for you depending on how well your high school taught you or your own abilities. All high schools have their own playing fields. but at the college or university level, that playing field is leveled. Switching to the quarter system or semester system means that the pace may not be what you are used to or capable of, but you must adjust to it. Imposter syndrome at work is just as common, if not more. There are no more grades, but now your performance is measured by what you deliver, your impact to the team and company, and still how well you compare with your peers. You also get paid, and people with imposter syndrome may feel that they're not contributing enough to justify that pay. Starting a new job. Most jobs are unique based on the role, assignment, and the company that you work at. As with all new jobs, you always have to ramp up to understand what the team is working on and how they get things done. It might also be your first time in this particular role or the first time as a manager. Past experience helps, but is not always apples to apples. In both cases, a person with imposter syndrome assesses oneself differently compared to how a teacher, employer, or boss does. The evaluation is harder or stricter. In a way, it is self-inflicting mentally. Adjusting to a new environment also plays a role in imposter syndrome. In terms of mental health, imposter syndrome could be linked to low confidence and low self-esteem. An example is seeing how smart and successful other people are, particularly your peers, and thinking that you will never be as good as them. This is not believing in your own abilities and again, comparing yourself to others. There are ways to mitigate imposter syndrome from what I read in articles, as well as my own experience of dealing with it. I have experienced imposter syndrome myself, and so I want to share with you some effective ways and mindsets to help you prevent and get through it. First, I want you to know that having imposter syndrome is normal and that you are not alone. A good number of people experience imposter syndrome to some degree in some part of their lives. If not, I wonder if that person is challenging himself or herself enough or is even arrogant. I'm referring to the fixed mindset, which you can learn more about in my very first video. To mitigate imposter syndrome, first, stop comparing yourself to others. It will only do more harm than good, whether you're better in some way or not. Yes, there are incredible people out there, but learn from them rather than trying to be like them. There is a difference. Focus on yourself by being a self-advocate. It takes a lot of small steps and a lot of mistakes along the way. Mistakes are part of learning, and the more you learn, the more you'll improve. It's okay if you don't nail it the first time. There will be more opportunities. I find progress extremely helpful for dealing with imposter syndrome. Even if you can't celebrate the major wins, give yourself a pat on the back for even a very small contribution. Repeat this for every incremental progress that you make. Each small win gives you a dose of dopamine, the reward chemical. More about this topic in my previous video. This is like an antidote to imposter syndrome, and over time, it may even help you remove imposter syndrome altogether. Believe in your abilities. Instead of trying to be like, insert famous person's name here, you're going to be insert your name here. How do you know how far you're going to get in life compared to all these great people? It's limitless. I understand there are smarter people doing great work. That's because they are good at it and invest significant amounts of time in it, but they are certainly not good at everything. You can find your niche as well. Ideally, it should be something you are passionate about, but it will be a lot easier to succeed if it is also your strength, because that is what makes you stand out from the crowd. Watch my strengths versus passions video to learn more about this topic. A little bit of imposter syndrome is good because you are challenging yourself enough and you are aware that you have room for growth. This is part of having a growth mindset. Hope you enjoyed this video and now understand a lot more about imposter syndrome and how to address it. Hit that like button and leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to get updates on new videos and check out my page for more content on how to grow your mindset. You've been inspired today. You're no imposter. You're the real deal.